Hey Christine, can I just get a mic check?
Hi there.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Christine.
Hey, Emily, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, busy as usual, right?
No.
It doesn't slow down ever,
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like that.
right?
Different busyness.
Different busyness, right? I would take the younger years busy any day.
Yeah,
Yes, for sure.
it does seem like that. I know as my kids have gotten older, it's just a lot more chauffeuring and out of the house and running around and
Yep.
The feed is technically on, just so you know, like it's recording already.
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
You can talk, I'm just letting you know.
No, it's okay. I have to take a call really.
Okay. Ready when you are.
Good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Education Finance Committee to order. It is 5:34. And we have I think, really interesting agenda tonight. There'll be a lot of illumination about our finances going into next year with federal funds and health insurance. And first on the agenda is a special education excess cost grant update. With that, I will gladly turn it over to Dr. Cook.
Yes, thank you, Galen. So we were recently informed that another $40 million was added to the excess costs grant for this year only. It does not impact the next year. That is still going through the state budget process. And so we wanted to share what that means for Madison. We provided the first paper attached, and I'll ask Stacy and I will work on all the items tonight. We have some really exciting, as you shared, updates in the finance world, and we'll work through that. But Stacey, if you could walk us through that
Sure.
attachment.
Yeah, so the first section is how we built our budget for this current fiscal year for 24-25. We actually anticipated a reduction of 34% from the reimbursement from the state. So we do that every year based on the prior year, because it has not been 100%, and I can't tell you how many years. So then we found out, as Craig said, that we were getting additional funds. When we looked at what the state calculated based on what we had, they actually calculated originally a 40% reduction. So we were a little bit aggressive. And then they gave us additional funds, which actually equates to a 72.8% of the total. So the net of the 173 that they are saying they're giving us back really comes to 91 because we were a little aggressive in our budget projections.
Yeah, so as shared, the new money coming into Madison, if this didn't happen, you know, what we received over, what the state was originally going to give us is $173,000, but the outcome for us, because we had anticipated receiving more money. And actually, one of the factors was also less special ed costs this year, you know, kind of the trend. You know, we're $91,000 to the positive because of this additional money coming in, and been in touch with John Michael Parker and Christine Cohen to thank them for their support of this new legislation. I know Cave and CAPS worked on it as well. Several districts were, and we were down as you can see, but several districts were down, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, a really difficult spot. So it's been very helpful.
So if I could recap the process, we're usually pretty conservative about what we estimate. We never know exactly. We were fortunate this year. And also special ed costs are usually quite variable. And it just came together this year for about a $91,000 savings in excess of what we had anticipated.
Yes.
Great. Christine, I know you're online. Do you have any questions or comments?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
No, I don't have any questions, but that sounds really positive. Thank you.
So that would conclude that item. That's good news.
2 and 4 go hand in hand. Just a good time to share where we are in the town budgeting process. So at this point, I've attended, and Stacy's at all of them anyway, but the Board of Finance's deliberations last week, and was asked some questions regarding per pupil expenditures and some other pieces of our budget, how we compare to other places. You're still, as I shared multiple times with the board, we're one of the lowest in the state. We're actually 4th lowest in the state as where we sit today. So we're in a really
For overall budgeting.
for overall budget
Yeah.
increase. Yes, right. Yes. So we stand in a good place with our request. I think the questions were well received. We had previously provided them some answers to questions in writing, and then provided that to the board as well. They meet tomorrow night. I have not been asked to come back, so I think they're in a good place in terms of where our budget is. And Stacey, anything I'm missing on that piece before we meet the?
No, I don't think so. No. So the Board of Finance, just to reiterate, they're gonna meet tomorrow night and they're gonna vote, hopefully, to move it forward. And then we will, just to throw it out there, the referendum will be on May 6th and Senate will right on May 7th.
And if I can jump to 4 on that. As the board knows, we are self-insured. We work very closely with the town of Madison in terms of our insurance costs and savings. And the town and board had asked, which is typical for this time of year, for an update from our consultant. We receive information from our consultant in the fall, and we rely on those numbers that we got in late November. And so that was what we used to provide the board for our budget for late December, which we provide to the board. We've been talking about that and dealing with that number. Most years they come back to us with pretty much the same, you know, they don't change the recommendation because it's only a few months later. As you know, we had a very positive calculation this time they came with even more positive news. And so I know about 4 years ago, this happened and we reduced the budget. When this happens, I know Stacy shared, that's happened several times. I remember her sharing that 4 years ago with me, but that happened. I think it was a minor reduction a few years ago. But this new information, and we have a document to share with you that's pretty much hot off the presses. So Stacy's gonna hand that out.
Copies. I
Oh.
thought you were gonna hand them out.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. I ain't gonna hand that out. Christina, I apologize. We can email this to you. Or-
Can we do that?
yeah, that'd be-
Yeah, you can email it over. That's fine.
I'll text it to you now.
Thank you.
I have mine.
So Stacy, I'll ask you to.
Yeah,
do this.
yeah, so the first row is where we were, when we were in discussions in November. And this is based on the expected claims for the upcoming budget year, and it's based on history. It's based on the last 12 months as well as trends built in. So in November, we did get a favorable amount where the Board of Ed had a 1.27 increase and the town actually went down about 1%. And as Craig said, in March, we always, try to revisit to see where we are, and it actually came in even more favorable. And we think it was basically because we had a reduction in our claims for the other 2 months that were added to the projections. Along with the claims, if those go down, so do the trends. So that also helped. We also lost a high cost claim. And we also had an age employee claims in the prior year, so that kind of impacted where our projected claims are in the future. So that being said, the 1.27 for the Board of Ed increase is now a 2.68%.
Wow.
Decrease in health insurance.
Great.
Wow.
And so what is happening, you see the town's line there as well. I know, First Selectwoman Lyons has already written the Board of Finance with their reduction. What I was going to ask the board to do is I think it's only responsible of us to notify the Board of Finance as well of where things stand with our situation. And that I do not recommend we take any action on our budget, as we've done before when there's been reductions at this time of the year. We have not taken any action until the town passes the budget. So I think we would wait until that action occurs, but I think it's responsible of us to signify to the Board of Finance that we have $375,000 of savings that we were not anticipating back in January when the board set their budget. And as I shared, this is something we've done in the past. I think it will support a healthy budget going forward. We're also conservative in this area. I will share. We had several conversations with the consultant. We do have an insurance reserve, so we're not year to year budgeting. We do have funding available should claims go poorly for the last 4 months or even into next year. So we feel we're in a good place to make this reduction. I think it's the right path forward.
So the Board of Finance is fully apprised of this savings, but it will not be a factor in their voting on our budget tomorrow night.
They are fully apprised of the town's savings.
Okay.
Because we had our meeting tonight, I wanted to be able to discuss this with the Board of Finance tonight. And I figured that you would, or we both would update the full
Okay,
board
yeah.
at our meeting. But I do think what would happen is they would take this reduction when they set the budget. They would take it into account when they set the budget for the town and board.
So it will be a discussion item at tomorrow's.
It will be. Okay, yeah, thank you.
And then, just so you know, by taking this reduction, the new Board of Ed budget is now showing a 1.87% increase.
Okay, I'd say enjoy it while you can.
Like,
We are, as I've been saying, hoping for long memories, because I think that there will be a time when we're much higher than we stand now. I will share though that even if we didn't take this reduction, it doesn't mean that it would decrease costs going forward. It, you know, would just, it'd be more money most likely that goes into the insurance fund. So, you know, I don't think that this is putting us in a difficult spot going forward. I think it's money that we just will not pay out in claims, and it's good news all around. Yeah,
Right.
That's great.
are you comfortable with me drafting a memo, Sharon?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, all right, great. So, so just for the record, we've covered item 1, the special education excess cost. Items 2 and 4, good news there. And our third item, that would be the federal funds update. I think we have a piece of paper pertaining to that.
yes. So a lot of discussion has happened regarding the federal funds. So when you look at federal funds for us, that is on that top section, the 2-year grants. This is a page right out of our budget. Those are the ongoing funds. So some of the additional grants listed were federal funding, but those are no longer expected to keep coming in. And we just received news today that it looks like you know, the Title I and Title IV funding as well as IDEA is pretty solid. Like they were you know, the agencies that were updating us were feeling very confident that those funding sources would continue on going forward. It was Title II that they were concerned with going forward. And if you've seen a lot of the reductions, they have been in future teacher preparation programs, future teacher grants, things like that I've seen that have been reduced, you know, immediately. The state has confirmed that their funding for IDEA has continued to come to them, as well as Title IV, which is a very small amount. Title III and Title IV are very small amounts, and so you know, we're looking at about an $800,000 roughly in federal grants. We do expect Title I to return next year based on numbers in our conversations with the State Department of Ed, who administers that grant for the federal government. Money comes into the state and then they disperse that to the town. So we're expecting that $100,000 funding to return. That is not part of the budget because we were not 100% confident at the time that we were budgeting. So you know, whereas you know that it might make in other towns a significant portion of a larger portion of their budget. You know, $800,000 is not insignificant to us, but it's not a large portion of our budget, and we feel pretty certain that those funding sources will continue. Right. Anything I missed? You've heard the same pretty much from your agencies as well.
Yeah, I did. I mean, it was a pleasant surprise for Title I. And then the Title II, we were trying to rely on, and now we're not so sure on that.
For anyone in the audience or that doesn't have the paper in front of us, the Title II grant is $27,000, and that's basically for teacher quality. We'd use that for teacher professional development. It doesn't fund any staff members at this point, so we don't stand to lose staffing because of it, but it would be an impact, but again, not a major impact to our $60 million budget.
Right. Emily, do you have any questions?
I'm just curious about the school-based health center line. Can you tell me more about what that money goes towards?
Yeah, so that was a grant that was a competitive grant. We applied for it. We received it through the state. It was federal funds, and it funded a school counselor for 2 years, and then that will continue into the budget for next year. So when we previously we had split a school counselor between Ryerson and Jeffrey.
Yeah.
And going into next year, currently we have a school counselor at both Ryerson and Jeffrey. And then we next year we'll have 3 counselors when we add the Brown counselor into the mix. And so we'll have 1.5 in each school, which is a appropriate staffing for 600 students and 550 students. So we're pleased, the counselors presented the other night and, that did a great job of sharing with the, audience, all the things that they do to support students.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
elementary level.
Thank you.
Christine, I don't want to call you up, but I'll forget to look your way. Have any
No,
questions?
it's okay. I actually was thinking the same question as Emily, so thank you for answering.
You know, my conjecture would be that we're fortunate not to depend so much on these grants. In an environment where things are moving fast and breaking, I think we'll be squeezed if state taxes go up or grants to the state as a whole go down. Will be more of a zero-sum game. There could be shifting allocations there. So I think there will be indirect effects on our town tax burden, but not directly in the form of grants. So again, it's going to be a tricky environment, 26 through 28. But I don't think we'll be able to squeak by with 1.87%.
Mm.
Again, that's just my 2 cents. That really covers the agenda. If we have any other questions or concerns?
Yeah, as I shared, we shared the hot off the presses, information. We'll add that to the agenda online, now that we have that, but we were working through that. That came, both HR departments, Stacy, of course, thank them, for their work on that. They meet with an insurance consultant, about once a month to check in, and this was a pretty major one, so.
Yeah, it's great to deliver good news.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
She doesn't get to do that
Yeah.
often, so.
No, that's great. You made it crystal clear. So yeah, thank you very much, Stacy. Do we have any public comments or questions online? All right. Well, thank you. Then with that said, let's adjourn the meeting at 5:50.